Hey, this is Pam Perry, and I am so delighted to be here today and excited to be here today to talk about the miracle of friendships. Listen, if we didn't have friends that really talk us off the ledge, where would we be, right? And so I'm going to talk about the five different types of friends and give you some personal stories about friendships. But friends was really God's idea. We were not put here to be lone rangers or be alone. So first, I want to read you a little bit about friendships. And I have some wonderful friends, God inspired friends, God ordained friends, and especially women, us girls, we have these girlfriends that are like our BFFs forever, right? And so I'm going to tell you the difference between simple and real friends. This is something that I found online, and I really want to read it because it's something about what's a simple friend and what's a real friend, and then we'll kind of get into it. So, a simple friend has never seen you cry. A real friend has shoulders soggy from your tears. A simple friend doesn't know your parents' first names. A real friend has their phone numbers in her address book or in her phone. A simple friend brings a bottle of wine to your party. A real friend comes early to help you cook and stays late to help you clean. That's a real friend. A simple friend hates it when you call her after they have gone to bed. A real friend asks why you took so long to call. A simple friend seeks to talk with you about your problems. A real friend seeks to help you with your problems. A simple friend wonders about your romantic history. A real friend could blackmail you with it. A simple friend, when visiting, acts like a guest. A real friend opens a refrigerator and helps himself. Get some of those. A simple friend thinks friendship is over when you have an argument. A real friend knows that it's not a friendship until after you've had a disagreement. A simple friend expects you to always be there for them. A real friend expects you always to be there for you. So I read that just because there's just different levels of friendship. And I have had examples in my life of different friends in my life. And I say that they're God ordained. And I'm going to talk about my inner circle friends. So I'll give you the types of friends that I see that really a lot of them you probably have different sorts of friends, and then you have one friend that's probably all of them, but there's one set of friends what I call like the inner circle friends, and then there's friends that are just fun friends just to hang out and have fun with. Then there are the cheerleader friends, the friends that are just like, you can do it, you can do it. And then there are those mentoring friends, the ones that are like almost like your big sisters in a way. And then there's the friends that I call like the matchmaker friends or the friends that make you better. Or for me, I call them my entrepreneurial friends. They're the ones that open doors for you for business, for your career. And then there's also the last one, I call it the things you have in common friends, like whether you went to school together, you grew up in the same neighborhood, you have things in common, you're in the same sorority. Those are the type of friends. And not one is better than the other. It's just that depending on what the situation is, you're going to have that friend appear in your life. And that's what I call God ordained. So I'm going to start with the scripture that really a lot of times people talk about this scripture a lot. Is from the book of John. And really, Jesus talks about loving one another. It says, "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full." It says, "This is my commandment." He didn't say suggestion, "that you love one another, that I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for servants, for a servant does not know what the master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all things I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give to you. These things I command you," said it again, "that you love one another." So, what are the key things? What is a friend to me? that I see is a friend. Um, the number one thing for me for a friend is having trust. Having trust is really important when you have a friend. You've got to be able to trust them, right? They have to be loyal. A friend is loyal, meaning that no matter what, they're going to stick with you. They are not here today, gone tomorrow, right? They are loyal. They stick with you. They make you feel better. Friends, when you're around them, you feel better. Hopefully, when someone who calls me their friend, that when they're around me, they feel better. If you're around a friend and you feel worse after you leave, check the friendship. They're truthful. Friends are truthful. It's like, girl, how do I look in this? Oh, girl, you look great. No, let's find you something else to wear because that's a little bit too tight or whatever. They're going to be truthful in love. They will say, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't go out in the pajama pants, in the house shoes, in the bonnet. A real friend will say, you know what? Let's change. You need something to wear. Let's go in my closet. Okay. They're going to be truthful. They're givers. Friends are givers, and they give without no expectation of return. They're just a friend that they give. And also, friends are forgiving. We all know that sometimes we can get on people's nerves, friends included. So, having friends that are forgiving, and I'll go through some of the scenarios with my friends of how that is always played out on both sides. Um, they encourage you. Friends are encouragers. One of the things that in the Bible, it talks a lot about friendships and encouraging one another and mentoring relationships. And so there's different ones. One of the first things that I talked about, or I thought about when we talked about the miracles of friends, was the friendship between Paul and Barnabas. You remember Barney? He was like Barney. The word Barnabas is kind of like that like he was the friend. He was like the friend to Paul. Like when Paul was converted from Saul to Paul, and he brought him to the and Barnabas brought him to the disciples. It's like, hey, meet my friend. He's converted. And if Barnabas hadn't made that introduction, they were like, no, he was killing Christians the other day. I don't really think I'm going to trust Paul. But it made it so that Barnabas and Paul were friends, that they trusted him, and then Paul ended up helping change the whole world as well, with the books of the Bibles that he wrote. So anyway, so that's one of the things too, that friends are forgiving. They encourage you. They help you be better. They just help you be better. That's one of the things. They help you be a better version of you. And my friends, iron sharpens iron. It's in the Bible and Proverbs. It talks about iron sharpens iron. And they help you be a better version of yourself and more Christ-like. And so that leads me to really talk about my inner circle friends, right? So I have three, and they stood up in my wedding. And there was another one that stood up in the wedding. I'll go with that as well. But the three that stood up in my wedding: Diana, Portia, and Clara. Diana I've known since kindergarten. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same middle school, went to the same high school. She went to UD, I went to Wayne State. So we saw each other all the time. And then actually after we graduated, we were roommates. I'm the godmother of her son. She's a godmother of my daughter. She was a matron of honor in my wedding, and I was a maid of honor in hers. Her sister, older sister, is like my older sister. So we're like family. And so the things I said, between simple and real friends, she's a real friend. But one of the things I think Diane is really more so than that, besides circumstances, is that Diane can sing, and she was always in the choir at church, and she sang all the time, and she was in the gospel choir at Cass. She was in the gospel choir, obviously all through college, and she traveled and all that. But Diane was really that friend that would share a lot of the Bible with me without sharing the Bible. So the way she lived is how she demonstrated God's word to me. So during the time of my early teens and maybe 20s, maybe I wasn't on the straight and narrow path, but Diane would not give up on me. When I say would not give up on me, she would invite me to concerts. She would invite me to church, even though I was going to church, but she just seemed to have a little bit, what I saw then, a little bit deeper relationship, more serious about it than I was. And it wasn't like she was just checking in. So I said, let me find something that that is really interesting. I mean, she still was having fun and that sort of thing, but it just seemed like she had a different level of peace about herself. So I remember during a period of time, we were roommates. She wouldn't thump me over the head with a Bible or anything, but I just remember Diane giving me a book. And I want to say that book really changed my life. And one of the books was Prayers That Avail, Prayers That Avail Much. And she said to me, "This book will help you," because during the time I was going through a lot of stuff at work with men, just my whole life was just kind of like jacked up, right? And Diane was like, "This may help you." And it was Prayers of Avail Much. She wrote in the inside of it. Now, high school graduation, she also gave me a Bible. That was Diane. She also gave me a Bible in high school when we graduated, and it was The Way. If anybody remember the Way Bible, she gave me that. She says, "This might really help you because it's really written in like everyday language." Of course, I said, "Oh, thank you," and I put the Bible aside, right? So again, she never gave up on me, and again, she gave me Prayers of the Veil Much, and for whatever reason, it was the right book at the right time, and that really did change my life. I sought a deeper relationship with God. Everything really started to fall in place, and things started making sense, right? I started watching more Christian television. I really became more serious about my relationship with God, all because of Diana, right? She didn't hit me over the head a lot, and again, we were around each other a lot. Just the way she lived just demonstrated to me that what she had, I could probably use some of that. The other friend met Clara. Clara was one of those friends that where it was like a sister, right? Where we had a lot in common in terms of our careers. We went to Wayne State. We both majored in journalism. One of those friends where you can meet in college and maybe not be in touch, but we stayed in touch. When she moved out of town, we wrote each other. This was before the internet. Whenever she would come back in town, we would get together. It didn't matter. Whenever we pick up the phone, if it was 3 months or three 3 weeks or 3 years, sometimes we would pick up the phone wherever we were and would just pick up wherever we left off. Really a real friend. And she was in my wedding as well. And one of the things that I just remember about Claire is that there was a period of time when I was going through a really dark time. I had a bad breakup with a someone that I'd been dating for like 7 years or something like that. And I thought we were going to get married, and we broke up. And I just remember she came by and sat with me as I cried all night, right? And we were playing Sade music. And she was just there for me. Never judged me, never said, like whatever, whatever, but just sat and listened, let me cry. We laughed. She got me to laugh finally. And, just one of those things where you just never forget. And, just from time to time, we always have these entrepreneurial ideas where we include each other's in. We're like sisters, right? So she has a big family of sisters, and her family of sisters are like my sisters and her family and that. And we've traveled together to different events, and I've seen her genius, and I appreciate her genius what she does. And the same, she says, for me. We've just seen each other grow up from the beginning days at Wayne State in the journalism school. She's gone on to win Emmys, and I've gone on to do my business for 20 years and win different awards, and we've always been there for each other. More or less like we're cheerleader friends for each other, as well as inner circle friends for sure, and definitely entrepreneurial friends. So we kind of go over those different type of things. Of course, all my friends, we have fun. So then that leads me to this other inner circle friend that was also in my wedding, was Portia. Portia was a friend where we met in the industry, and immediately we clicked, and we just had an instant liking for each other. She was a cheerleader friend, but also a very encouraging friend. If anyone knows Portia Lockett, she's the inspirational person. We started an organization together. I would tell her my ideas. She would be the person to help you, cheer you on to make it get done. But more so than that, she is definitely a person that I would say is a God sent friend. In terms of sometimes if I'm, like a prayer partner and that sort of thing, she would be there. She would be in tune to different things that I'm going through. And those are the things where I kind of just say God kind of like he can't be in skin, but he sends you friends. And she was one of the ones when I got married. She was in the wedding, like I said. She was a godmom also of my daughter. But I remember when I was trying to decide whether to go to a different church, and she invited me to her Bible study, and I went to her Bible study, and it became a really, I grew so much at that church, and I really, really appreciated her for that. And then she left that church, and then I followed her to her new church. And again, it was something that I needed at that time, and she was a person that really, like, again, not really saying you need to do this, but just from example, you may want to come to check out this Bible study. So we ended up doing that so many times, and just supportive. Friends are supportive from so many different things that they've done. So out of those, talking about different friends, and you can have prayer partners and things like that. She had a group of friends that she was praying with every morning at 6 a.m. She included me in that. And so that's what friends do. They include you in the circle of their other friends. Your friends are friends of each other, right? And so there were a couple of other friends that were friends of friends, Pam Dover and Rose. Both of them are friends of each other, but I met them through each other, and we all know one another from different circles that we all are in. And all of the things in common have to do with prayer, have to do with encouraging each other, obviously getting together for fun. And there's so many people in the world. So why do you click with some people and why don't? There's some friends that are, for a season, reason, and lifetime. You know, I don't know whether that's true. I've not really found that in the Bible. It's not scripture or anything, but it does seem to be like certain people are connected with you for a certain time, and there's a reason why God will have that allow. And so with the other friends, we've gone through a lot. I remember one friend had their house burned down. Another friend had a business that, didn't, that was launching. We were helping with that. Another friend, will go through maybe a death of maybe a child, and we will always be there from each other. We're like group text, right? We encourage each other. We're just sharing each other in the morning. Hey sister, this is a scripture I want to give you today, or this is inspiration. This is how friends do. So then there's another group of friends that you may have something in common with. Say you went to high school with. I went to Cass Tech. Okay, there's a lot of people at Cass, but who do you keep in touch with? And so two of the friends that we always are sharing each other's birthday. There's a birthday in March, there's a birthday in May, and then there's a birthday in July. Never do we miss each other's birthday. We go out for each other's birthday. We celebrate each other, and we have fun together. New Year's Eve, we are doing like New Year's Day, we're doing vision boards together, or at least in January, and we encourage each other, inspire each other, look out for each other. Again, the qualities are trust, loyalty, and you feel good when you're around them, and that's really important. And then there's those friends that we have that you would say, just things you have in common because you grew up in the same neighborhood, right? It's just destiny where your parents live here and you just happen to have this friend that lives here, and you end up being best friends, or the person across the street, you end up being best friends. They're like your sisters for life. Doesn't matter. They are just in your life. They've been there your whole life. You like them, they like you. And so from that, you kind of call those friends like, oh, that's my cousin. Why? Because you're so close to them. You're always over their house growing up. You feel like you're related, and those people are still in your life. And that's something that, don't take for granted that that was just an accident, because God really had that happen. If there's people in my life, I think of the Shepherds and the Vances, and then even the Jordans, which grew up. Reverend Jordan grew up next door to me, and his kids were my best friends. Matter of fact, I don't think I would have probably been involved in my business that I am today, which is Ministry Marketing Solutions, if I had not grew up next door to Reverend Joseph R. Jordan, because we went to church with him every single Sunday. And one of my roles in the church a lot of times was doing marketing and promotion. Marketing and promotion wasn't called PR back then, but I would promote whatever we had going on in the church. It felt natural. Reverend Jordan allowed me to do that, being with the other kids. His Kim Jordan, when she had a CD drop, I helped promote that. Sandra, I saw her talent just blooming. Matter of fact, she still calls me to this day to help her with certain branding things, because we know each other's strengths and weaknesses and how we fit together as a family, right? So that's one of the cool things about that. Then there's those friends that um, I read you this right here that Andrea Hall. So Andrea Hall was a friend who's no longer with us. She passed in 2009, but she wrote the book, The Walk at Work. So she was a client, but she was also a friend. She wrote this book. This is her here. And she was a former CNN anchor, and she did that for many years. She lived in New Jersey, and um, we met online, and I really just loved her spirit, and vice versa. She loved mine. But this is the thing that I remember, and I kept this card, and it said, "We all need someone to give us the courage to be who we're meant to be." And that was Andrea Hall for me. And I met her when I just started my company, Ministry Marketing Solutions, and I was telling her about the vision. This is one of her books here, and this one here. And I was telling her about the vision. Now, these books weren't written yet, but I was telling her about the vision of Ministry Marketing Solutions and how God had really just called me to help promote speakers and authors. And she says, I want to write a book. I want you to help me with my book. So, anyway, her book ended up being published by Random House. And that was my first really big contract that I really had gotten. And so, like I said, we all need someone to give us that courage to be who we were meant to be, because she says, you could do that. You could do that. Again, that cheerleader friend, that encouraging friend, the people that say, you can do it. I see it in you. And hopefully I do that to my friends as well, because they've done that to me. So that was one friend. And then there was another one too that's gone on. Her name is Deborah Shoemake. And Deborah was a type of friend where she would meet you and say, I'm praising God for you. That was her thing, the praise lady. And she died. Both of them died of cancer. Deborah just recently died last year, and Andre, like I said, in 2009. But they left me, imparted into me so many lessons, so many, even like the books that they've read. I remember she wrote a book for Aubrey when she was about 5 years old, a little prayer book, and gave me a little statue of a prayer lady. I mean, just the thoughtfulness. I meant to say that friends are thoughtful. They are thoughtful, not just on your birthday, but they're thoughtful. And both of them were older than me. And I would say that, a lot of times, if you have friends that are like your same age, they may not be as thoughtful, but the older the friends they are thoughtful, which the mentoring friends. So I'll mention two mentoring friends. Mentoring friends are friends that obviously they will tell you things that you need to change, things that probably you need to fix, or maybe just friends that you hang around. And some things are taught and some things are caught. So if you hang around them, you'll catch certain things. So two of them are, one is Helen Love and the other one is Dr. Marilyn French Hubbard. Both of them are probably about 10 years older than me. I love hanging out with women that are older than me. You learn so much wisdom. And so both of them, when I wrote a book, they did endorsements for my book. Whenever I needed different advice for business, they always gave me that. They were the mentoring friends that will share and impart wisdom because they're further down the line. And I love that about them. And they have always been in my life. I met both of them early in my, probably early 30s, maybe 20s, even late 20s. And they've been in my life ever since. One is, they're both retired now and they're living the good life. There's the other type of friend that you can have in your life, and it may seem sometimes rocky, like, and I call that whole season of God really expanding your heart for forgiveness. Because all my friends aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. And so you'll have these friends sometimes, and I'm not going to name the names, where there's going to be seasons of like in and out and in and out. I mean, they'll get offended over the simplest things, like you didn't call me back when you said, or, those friends that make you feel guilty about everything. Like, you don't have time for me, or you didn't invite me, or you didn't remember it's like, whoo. So we just walk in love with them. We forgive them. We go to sleep, wake up the next day, call them like it's not even happened. I mean, you've got to just work through it, because you've been through so much together with friends. And sometimes it could be, we don't know what's going on with them, but you just love them anyway. And that's how God is with us. And we need to be that with our true friends, our real friends as well. What if every time we messed up, God would say, you know what, I'm done with you. You're canceled. So we're not going to cancel our real friends. Simple friends, maybe, because that's okay. Those are just people around. But the real friends, the list that I read earlier, those are the ones. The other type of friend, like I said, you walk in forgiveness with them, unless it becomes detrimental, like it becomes really toxic. And those are the things that you then have to let go. Um, but for me, because my business is really personal branding, PR, and marketing, I love working with my clients. I choose my clients who happen to then be, I believe in their gifts and their talents, and try to promote their books and their ministries and their messaging. They end up being friends too as well. And that's one of the beauties of really having your own company, is that you pick your clients you work with, and they end up being friends as well. I'm thinking of um, Judge Leanya Lloyd. Love her, she's such a good friend. Like I said, Dr. Geneva Williams is really a good friend. Nicole Roberts Jones. So those are people, yes, I do work for them, I do marketing, PR, but I genuinely love their message. I couldn't promote if I didn't like them, right? So those are the type of things that I really just wanted to impart in terms of friendship, the miracle of friendships. There's just no other way that we can make it in life without friends. There's no way that really God will put us here if we didn't have to have some type of friends, right? Because they are the ones that really hold us up when we can't go on. They're the ones that kind of encourage us. Yes, obviously we have our personal prayer time, we have our relationship with the Lord. But like I said, before I really even was walking with God as much as I am now, there were friends that would say, "Hey, you need to read this book." And I remember this particular book too. If you can read it, it was called Hind's Feet on High Places. And so there's some friends that say, "Hey, you need to read this book." And then they'll say, "Here's a book. I bought one for you," right? That's a real friend. It's like, you need to read it. And this book is what they call an allegory. And it was so, I had never read an allegory before. Gail gave me this. And I just thought, just it just, you see I had all these little sticky notes in here and everything. It was just so good. But it the character was also what it really meant in the book. So I can't even explain how this book really changed my life, but it really did. Um, Again, there's friends where you can just have like chick flick things that go together. You can go roller skating together. You can golf together. There's different things. And like I said, the inner circle friends, the fun friends, the cheerleading friends, the mentoring friends, the entrepreneurial type of friends, and then there's also the things you have in common friends. There are different types of friends, but like I said, people can be in different circles of the friends as well. They don't have to just be in one bucket or another. But what's really beautiful is when you have friends that you have a good friend and they meet your other friend and then they become friends. It's like, that's so cool. I just think that's so cool. And me being an oldest child, all of my sister friends seem like they're my sisters. I didn't have sisters. So when you're my friend, you're like my sister automatically. You're gonna be my sister friend. And I seem to always have friends, girlfriends that have twins as well. So I had a couple of friends that were twins, so that's fun. So not only was I friend with the one sister, but I was a friend with the twin. So it's like you got a bonus with that. That probably happens to them a lot. But like I said, one of the main things is that having adventures with friends, having ups and downs with friends, sharing life and love with friends, really praying with friends is really important. Another friend, Diane Palmer, during a time when my marriage, probably 7 years into my marriage or so, it was just like, whoo, I don't know what's going to happen. I said, it's just getting rough. And she introduced me to a book, The Power of the Praying Wife. It changed my life, changed me, and changed my marriage. And we had a prayer group. She says, okay, we're gonna get this together, and you're gonna read that book, and we're gonna talk every week, and we're gonna do prayer. We're gonna pray for our husbands. And those are the friends that you can't really, you couldn't have picked them. God had to pick them for you, right? It's like, wow, right at the right time. And you want to be there for your friends as well. I remember when my my mom passed in 2019, and early in the morning. And the first person there that stayed with me was Portia. Well, Diane was far away. She was in Grand Rapids and that sort of thing. Claire's in DC. And so your inner circle friends, they were there for you and they walk you through every step of the way. Diane, at the funeral was helping me with this. And, just, Claire's bringing, you don't even remember what goes on, but in those pivotal points in your life, you're like, wow, they lift you up. They lift you up and they pray for you. They keep you grounded. They keep you encouraged. They keep you moving. And that's a miracle. And it's a miracle of friends. And it's one of those things where if I didn't have them, God would see to it that I would have other ones. If I were to move to a whole nother state, I'm sure God will orchestrate it where I would run into people in the elevator. It's like, she needs a girlfriend. Okay. So, and it's always too in the Bible. It says, those who want a friend have to show themselves friendly. So that's part of it too. Just having the character of God, having a Christ-like character, you will have friends. You will, if you don't have friends, just work on your Christ-like character, and you will attract friends. It starts in your heart, and so showing yourself friendly first, and then friends, you'll attract that as well. So with that, that is my I guess you would say my study or my reflections about the miracles of friendship. I really enjoyed talking about that because I can go on. I didn't name all of my friends, but like I said, when you walk in love and you really have an open heart, you have friends that are loyal and trustworthy. I remember my mom said a long time ago, she says, you go to school with a whole lot of people, but if you can just have like 5 true friends, you're doing good in your life. And it's so true. If you got an inner circle of some really true friends, you can let your hair down. You could just be yourself. They come in your house, go in your refrigerator. They are just your true friends. And she said that, and I was like, at the time I was a teenager, it's like I'm gonna have like 500 friends. And it's like you don't have 500 friends. This is not Facebook. This is like people who are in your life, in your spiritual connections with them. It's a covenant with your friends, so you can't have it like thousands. It's not like Facebook on Twitter. I mean, those are people We're talking about real friends. So with that, I am Pam Perry, and I appreciate having you be a part of this Women in the Well, and it's been great. If you need anything, in terms of marketing, PR, and branding, you know where to go. PamPerryPR.com. Been doing it my whole life. All righty. Thanks a lot. Take care. God bless.